KFYO, 9 minutes after the hour. What is the Boy Scout motto?
Be prepared.
Be prepared. You know, even if you aren't a Boy Scout, you need to be prepared. 2 fingers in the air, or is it 3? Anyway, this weekend, we've got a Preparedness Fair, and this is really important stuff. Dennis Howard's in the house. He's a retired fireman and has been in the water business, knows quite a lot about H2O. And he's going to be speaking on water purification at this.
At the Preparedness Fair.
Okay, when and where?
Saturday morning, 10 a.m. to 3 p.m.
Free.
At the LDS Church. I believe that's at 70th and Frankfurt Avenue.
Yep, 7014. All right. As far as water goes, a lot of people take this for granted. You know, you turn the faucet on, okay, and you get water. You flip the light switch, let there be light. Okay, if there is a disaster, okay, first of all, I'm thinking purifying the water and getting fresh water, that's one thing. But how do you know? How do you know that the water's safe to drink?
Actually, you don't. If there's an emergency, a disaster, a loss of critical services, you really don't know what the condition of that water is. In the United States, we're really, really fortunate in that you can walk up to any tap, almost in any vicinity, any location in the United States, turn on the tap, and with confidence drink that water and know that it's safe. Unless something interferes with that infrastructure that's behind that tap. And a lot of people don't realize how complex that infrastructure is. It's dependent on human intervention, mechanical intervention, the entire utility grid to keep those services going. And here in Lubbock, we have had instances where we have had, with our system, had boil water notices. We have actually had outages where we were without city water for 4 to 6 hours. And it can happen in a heartbeat. Unfortunately, we sit at the top of our water chain, which means that everything that comes to us has to be pumped to us. And right there, you're virtually at the mercy of the electric grid. And anything that interferes with that shuts the water system down.
So that people who, deal with preparedness tell us to have water stored somewhere, enough fresh water for, the people in your family. How many gallons of water should you store?
The basic rule for that, according to FEMA, the Federal Emergency Management Administration, is you need 1 gallon of water per person per day minimum. Now, I like to recommend to double that to 2 gallons.
Now, how many days supply, though? Like a 3-day supply?
3-day supply, according to FEMA.
So basically, if you have a family of 4, that would be times 1 times 3, which would be 12 gallons, and you would recommend 24.
Right. And that's a bare minimum. That's a gallon for cooking and drinking and a gallon for personal hygiene. And that's not very much.
No.
That's the bare minimum. We work on the rule of 3s in the survival business. 3 minutes without oxygen, 3 days without water, 3 weeks without food. After that, you have the danger of being incapacitated. For a large disaster, we recommend that you have at least 2 weeks' worth of water per person.
Large disaster being?
The one that's on everyone's radar right now is an electromagnetic pulse, a solar flare that takes down the entire electric grid in the United States. Estimations are it would take somewhere between 2 weeks and maybe 2 months to bring the grid back up. And that means that you're going to be without basic services of any kind for that period of time.
Okay, you're recommending basically for a family of 4, 24 gallons of water, 2 gallons of water per person per day for 3 days. Now, this is next question. Water, does it have a shelf life?
water itself doesn't spoil. What water does is it becomes contaminated, or it becomes biologically active.
Yeah, right.
Stuff grows in it. Even the water that you get out of the tap with all of the chloramines and everything else that the city does to it to prepare it for use, it still comes in. As soon as it hits the open air, it begins to collect organisms. If you're going to store it, you have to treat it, and the easiest way to treat it is with liquid chlorine bleach.
Is this before you drink it?
When you store it. After you store it for a while in a light proof container, don't use plastic jugs. Are right if you can keep them in the dark.
So if you go to, like, let's say
that's what I thought I could do is
you
just
go to Walmart and you buy a basket
jugs.
full of gallon jugs of water,
Right.
and you put them down in a closet in the basement. How long is that going to last?
You probably need to rotate that out about every 12 months. Water goes flat, which means all of the dissolved oxygen in the water, gas is off, and it tastes bad. Without that, what you really are tasting is the oxygen and some of the minerals in the water. The easiest way to fix that is to simply aerate it, pour it back and forth between a couple of pitchers or containers before you drink it. If there's nothing growing in it, if it's not green, it's probably safe to drink. The next step that we advocate is that you have some sort of water purification system that doesn't require power, so that if you need to treat water, you can. And there are a number on the market, and we'll have some examples, samples, and operating systems at the Preparedness
Okay, just
Fair.
give me a real quick overview. I mean, how much does one
Are
of these
these like
things
the things
cost?
that people take with them when they go hiking out in the wilderness?
There's
and that
some
sort of thing?
straw-type operations that you can actually just stick down in a stream and pull water through,
Oh, wow.
up to the big home-type units that are gravity-fed. You pour water in the top, water comes out the bottom, safe to drink. And these are actually purification systems. They will take care of about 99.9%.
So is this like kind of like an RO, kind of a gravity-fed RO thing?
Yeah, except RO requires
how's it
pressure.
going?
Right.
These are a ceramic carbon
Good
filter
deal. You sound good on
media.
this end.
0.02 microns.
Everything.
Is the
everything
media.
looks
Talk to me in
good.
dollars
And
and talk to me in dollars and cents.
About $300 for one that'll handle a family of 4 on a regular basis.
And it takes care of how you said 99.9.
99.9%.
I'm sorry.
of
There you
the-
go.
the
sound better?
Bacteria and
Okay.
viruses
Well, I'm ready to go when you
that
are.
You normally
so,
would
who you got
find
scheduled today?
in unpurified water.
Wow, that's a really effective system.
Yes, it is. They're very
And-
good systems.
And pretty inexpensive, really.
For what it does. Most one system I'm talking about will actually do 6,000 gallons of water before the filters need to be replaced or cleaned or maintenanced.
Dennis Howard, you're speaking on water purification at the Preparedness Fair Saturday between 10 and 3. What time is your session?
10:45 and 1:15.
All right.
Will these
you-
be
Okay, I'm gonna
available
check back
for
with you there.
purchase
Fixing to go to a
there,
break.
or
I'll
just
be right back.
information on
No,
where to go
just
to
for
find them?
information on where to go to find them. The
Okay.
Preparedness Fair tries to stay non-commercial, and we stick
Just
with
giving
It's
that.
all
out
about
information.
Yeah.
Very
hey, man, I
good.
appreciate that. Listen, and a lot of people don't think about this, Laura, about being prepared in just the basic ways. Now, we were talking about basic preparedness with Vic Baliga yesterday. He's speaking on basic preparedness and how to start assimilating, organization in your life. And this is one thing that is really, really important. I was talking, and we've talked about this on the show before. He was talking about keeping your papers safe and knowing where all your birth certificate and your Social Security card and all your sensitive information is.
Mm-hmm.
And then it spills over into valuables. Well, people, when you think about a safe deposit box, everybody's thinking about the bank vault. Mm-hmm. Well, what good is that going to do you? The government back in the Depression, my mom was born April 26, 1927. And the government went in there and seized gold at 30 or 36 bucks an ounce. And that's what they paid you for it. Well, if you're in a safe deposit box in a bank, no offense to the bank, but the government can seize you. In Lubbock, there's only one private vault. And I was talking to this guy yesterday. His name's Scott Ramsey. He has a fortress over there. It's close to Bunzover, Texas. Let me tell you something. You know, the government can't get in there and do anything. This is a private vault. And, you know, for about the same price you paid a bank, man, you want to talk about being prepared and having your stuff available and actually isolating yourself from a huge national disaster. Man, this is it. If you don't go by the fortress, I mean, don't be stupid. I mean, you know, I've been over there since 2000 or before, and it's a really good opportunity to get your stuff in a bucket and getting it cleaned up. Go by the fortress and check it out, man. They're over at 3417 73rd Street. Hey, man, we'll see you on Saturday, 10:45 for the first session water purification at the Preparedness Fair.
We'll be there.
All right, thank you.